Okay, so I just want to give a quick tour of Singularity, which I just released, and some of the features that make it unique. So here I have a test project with Singularity running. All you need to do is import Singularity into your style sheets and your configuration file right under Compass, and you're good to go. And what Singularity is a grid system, but it's not just a sort of normal grid system that creates equal column grids. It has the ability to create grids with variable width columns. So let me just get in here and show you that. So here I have a basic file and a basic page set up. On my wrapper, you know, the width is all good to go. So let's see what Singularity looks like just out of the box. There's this mixin called background grid, which writes the grid to your background. This isn't as accurate as the test grid mixin, which uses actual elements, styles actual elements, using the grid itself. But it's a good way to just quickly get an idea of where things fall on your grid. So there it is out of the box, 12 equal columns. But what does it look like with things like compound grids? So what compound grids is, they just overlay different kinds of equal column grids over each other. So here is a compound 3 and 4 column grids. And if you count through this, there's 1, 2, 3. That's where the 3 column grid lies. And 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's both 3 and 4 column grids overlaid on top of each other here. And that's done with this compound function. Sort of under the hood, all this is doing is writing a list of numbers. And you can write any list you want, and Singularity will create something where the first column is 1 unit wide, the second column is double that, the third column is 3 times. And you can move these numbers around. So let's say I want to have one large center column. This center column is 4 times the width of the 2 side columns. So the 2 side columns are 1, the center column is 4. Singularity also uses modular scale as a dependency, so you can create grids based on the golden ratio and things like that. So let's just do that quickly. So there you have it. This grid is proportionate to the golden ratio. It's just 2 columns, but there it is, 1 and 2. And you can add as many as you want, and they'll all be on that same scale. So again, a lot of flexibility here in terms of what you want to do with this. Gutters, like most grid systems, well, these need to be percentage based, so there's not too much going on here. But this also supports unique padding, so I'll go over that in a second once we get into the test grid. So here's the test grid. Let me just comment this out. And this is a little more accurate because it's using actual elements in the HTML. So with this, I can add padding and stuff like that and show you how this looks. So you could see a little sliver of gray here, and I can vary this padding up a lot. And yeah, there's the padding applied to this. But I can also add unique padding to individual columns by adding a space and then setting my custom value. So let's say I want to use 5% padding on that middle column. That middle column then has 5% padding, unlike the two beside it. And that can be removed, or each column can have unique padding all on its own. So the last column gets no padding, first column gets the default padding, the center column gets another unique padding. So this is just one simple list, writing out unique values across your entire grid. So let's say I'm happy with this, and I'm comfortable writing with class-based objects. So let's just do this. Let's get include grid objects. Now nothing changed here, and that's because none of these objects are called. By default, these use something called a silent selector in Sass. But for our purposes, let's use classes, because we can see those. So all I do to use classes is selector is a period. You can use any selector you prefer here. You can use IDs if you really feel like it. But for now, let's just use selectors period. And if I dig into my CSS here, I can see that a number of classes have been written out for my grid. And what these do is I can call them out in my my HTML here. So let's say I want this first paragraph to span grid A1 to A2, or A0 to A1. So now that grid falls right underneath this first column, and it's floated left. And the second one, A1 to A2, falls there. And this third one, A2 to A3. Okay, so I've styled this first column so that I can see it a little bit clearer. And you notice this, this margin aligns with this side. But what happens if I do the same to the second column and it spans the second column which has padding and the third column which doesn't? So let me style that quickly and choose a slightly different color. Alright, so that shows up there. And let's span 1, 2, 3. Wait for this to refresh. There it goes. And there I have it. The start of it has padding, but the end of it doesn't, because the class is then aware of these changes in padding throughout the grid. Padding there, but not there. Okay, so now we're looking at how we might use the built-in semantics of our HTML to style these individual chunks. So I have my columns set out. The first column is 2 times up on the modular scale. Second one just 1, and third one just 1. So I want my article block to be the larger one, and we're still having the same padding that it was included last time. So right now I just styled them so that we can see what each chunk looks like, and I'm going to include grid span. So grid span is the number of columns this spans. So I'm just going to do that for all of them because they all span one column, and see what that looks like. So this is what it looks like. There is the first column with the article, and then the 2 following columns that are asides, all styled appropriately. But as you can tell, the column width has changed throughout. So how is this grid span knowing that? It has a built-in counter, so it follows you across the grid, and if you're writing in markup order, it knows where you are. But this can easily be overridden by placing a second value in here. So now I'm telling it explicitly that I'm writing the first column, I'm writing the second column, or I'm writing the third column. So this is the column that I need to start on. And if you want to override this, so let's start at the third column. The third column doesn't get the margin, so that just the margin to offset it from the other columns. So that's why these two are closer together. And then the subsequent columns are just kind of following that. This is very useful if you're not writing in markup order. So let me move these guys around. So this isn't markup order, but it should compile properly because I have put in these overrides, and if I didn't have these overrides, it would still assume that I'm writing in markup order. So this is a little trick if you are writing in markup order in your CSS, in your SAS files, to just help you write things more quickly and more efficiently. So that's it. That's a quick tour of Singularity and sort of the things included in it. Still plenty of bugs to iron out, so let me know if you have any questions or run into any of those bugs. So yeah, give it an install. Go to Singularity.gs to learn about it a little bit more and read up on the documentation. It's all there, and it's a lot of stuff, but I hope you enjoy it and enjoy building out grids.